Hello and welcome to the show. Today's episode is going to be a noisy one because I'm not in the audio booth. In fact, I listened to the last episode and I could hear my children making noise in the background. So I just want to plead with you guys. I beg, no vex. It's just one of these things. If I wait until I set up the booth or the house is empty, then I'm not going to be able to make these episodes consistently. So I beg you guys just manage for now. Eventually, the kids will grow up. My son should be in secondary school soon. uh, things will change, and then the quality of the podcast should improve. However, I am still dedicated to giving you guys the best. How will I put it? Even if the production quality on this episode is not on the podcast episode is not going to be top notch, I always make sure that I try to address questions that are central and pivotal to your business journey. So even though you might hear one or two chickens in the background, when I'm out and about in town, or if I'm at home, you hear my kids squabbling in the background. I'm always going to make sure that I try to deliver to you guys the most actionable and most practicable. Abby, is it practicable? Abby, practical. Most practical steps needed to diagnose your problems and move your business forward. So, just begging. Especially for those of you who are audiophiles and who like nice and clean audio, please just manage with me for now. So, let's see. Yes, so today we're going to be continuing exploring themes from the book Sell Like a Spy: The Art of Persuasion from the World of Espionage, and is written by Jeremy Hurwitz in August 2024. Now, this is your first time of listening to the podcast. The reason why we're listening to this, why we're exploring themes in this book, is because the author, he's a journalist, Jeremy. Our guy, Jeremy, what he's saying is that people who are in the world of international espionage and diplomacy, diplomats, spies, secret service people, these sorts of things, that they need certain skills to be able to do their job effectively. And some of those skills are things that we also need in the business world as well. So, if this is your first time of listening to the show, after you're done listening to this episode, just skip a couple of episodes back. It won't pass like 1 week. So, just skip back like 1 week. You start from the beginning, you get caught up to speed. Really interesting stuff. But if you listen to yesterday's episode, remember that I said it is best if you read this book for yourself. And I spoke about how you guys might be able to find copies of the book, because what I'm doing is not a book review. So I'm not going through it chapter by chapter, word by word, and telling you exactly what our guy Jeremy has said. I'm just exploring key themes that he raises, and then I now look at things from a sales and business development perspective, so that so that we can how will I put it, just rub minds, and move ahead, and put it that way. So today we're going to be looking at chapter 4, which is titled The Negotiation Game. Now, okay, no. Chapter 4 is the next chapter, because yesterday we did next chapter 3. So chapter 4 is the negotiation game, but I am going to completely ignore chapter 4. And the reason why is because negotiation is not my specialty. I talk about negotiation from time to time, but I always keep giving you guys much more credible resources, because the little I know about negotiation is just the kind of negotiations that salespeople do, which is not hardcore, which is not high stakes. So I'm going to ignore negotiation. When it comes to negotiation podcasts, there are lots of negotiations podcasts and websites and things like that out there. In fact, Harvard University still releases free material on negotiation all the time. So all you have to do is to check Harvard's website. I don't know if they have a podcast on that. Unfortunately, I have not been able to find a Nigerian podcast that is dedicated exclusively to negotiation. So just try a look. Also check Harvard. I hear that their stuff is good. Then but one thing I want to point out though is that if you listen to yesterday's episode on elicitation, or previous episodes that I've made on qualification and discovery, If this is your first time listening to the podcast, don't worry, don't fret. After you're done listening to this episode, listen to the one that came immediately prior. That's where we talked about elicitation. Then when you're done, you can use the search function within Spotify or within YouTube. Just if it's YouTube, type my name, Tavishima, and then type qualification or type discovery or type conversation, and then you'll see all the episodes I've made where I deal with these sorts of things. How do you engage in conversations with potential customers and clients? How do you tease out valuable information that will help you be effective at the job, and also to be able to deliver an accurate and a convincing proposal? So, where was I? The point I was trying to say was basically, if you listen to yesterday's episode on elicitation is going to give you all the information that you need to negotiate effectively. Because remember that elicitation was about getting people to talk freely, get people to talk casually, get people to talk calmly, to be cool, to be relaxed, so that you guys are just vibing one-on-one. Now, you catch somebody in that mindset, of course, they're going to be able to say things that you can use in an effective negotiation. So, even though we're not going to look at negotiation chapter 4 today, just know that stuff we said yesterday from chapter 3 also applies. Now, before we continue and move on to chapter 5, I'd like to give the shout outs. Again, the shout outs are really, really piling up because it's like more and more people are discovering the show. So I'm really glad. The problem is that now I have lots of shout outs to get to, especially those of you who actually do send messages. So let's head straight into it. So today's first shout out is to Aifua Timothy. Hope I pronounced your name correctly. He is a student in Uniben. That's another home of cultists, Uniben and Uniport. I'm not saying that Aifua is a cultist. I'm just saying that this is one of those schools where cultism is rampant. If you're not a strong man, don't go to Uniben or else. So at least we know that Aifua Timothy is a very strong man, because you can't survive in Uniben if you're not strong. So he is a student of medicine, and he's also a published author. The name of his book is Physics Demystified. So Timothy, thank you very much for listening to the show. He reached out to me on LinkedIn. Now, the next set of people I'm going to call, I'll call them in quick succession, are people who have listened to the podcast on Spotify and who have reached out to me on Spotify. There's somebody who I'm going to call Muyua, because I'm not sure if his name is Muyua or her name. I only know one female Muyua. And that's because the person's handle is MUR333WA_. I mean, you guys really pick the wildest names, honestly. So let me just say it's Muyua. Muyua says the podcast is relatable and so good. So thank you very much for the kind words. Then there's AKTS, who compared the podcast to How to Win Friends and Influence People. Thank you very much for the high praise. I really would love to be in that kind of company. I mean, for people to listen to my podcast and say that it's a classic, like one of the greats. Then also shout out to Mesoma Agochuku. At this point, she's commenting like almost every week now. So Mesoma is pretty much family. Oh, and by the way, Mesoma, as you're listening to this episode, I finally came across someone who has your name. And in all places, it was when I was at home in Makudi for the Christmas vac. I was really, really shocked to hear this. This woman called her daughter and said, Mesoma. I was like, oh, okay. I guess there are people who bear that name. But until I met Yusha, you are the first Mesoma I've ever heard of. Then Melky, shout out to you, says the podcast is always on point. I appreciate the praise. Then there's also a shout out to Saifulahi, that is Saeffullahee. He or she, I guess, is a babe from the way that the person is typing. But if it turns out to be a guy, sorry, you type like a woman. So Saifullah, he or she says the podcast is spontaneous and practical. Thank you very much. Then Brown Naya, I'm assuming that has to be a girl. Anyway, let me stop before I get in trouble. Anyway, Brown Naya says thanks for the podcast. And thanks for the thanks. And thank you very much, you guys that keep on listening. If at any point you've reached out to me in the past, you haven't heard any shout outs, then just, ping me a message. Just let me know. Hey, bros, you didn't shout me out. And I'll be more than happy to, because I really love you guys. Thank you very much for the support. And please keep listening to the show. Now, okay, chapter 4. We've actually chapter 4. Let's move on to chapter 5. Chapter 5 is the close. That is the one that everybody wants to know, especially when we talk about sales, selling, marketing. Everybody wants to know how to close. I hope if you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, I hope you guys realize that the close is not the main thing. Now, we all have to close, but the thing is, the reason why the close is hard is because lots of people open the business conversation the wrong way. If you start right, you will close well. If you open right, you will close well. So, I will go into this chapter on the close, but please know the main thing is the opening. Open it well and you will close well. It's like romance, trying to toast. If your flow is weak from the beginning, the close is going to be unsure. But if you make sure that you have strong flows from the beginning, then the close at the end is likely to follow. So it is the same thing. As in relationships, so also in business. If you open it well, you will close well. So, the author recommends a couple of tactics, or should we say philosophies or strategies or whatever for closing. One of them is to use urgency. Another one is to summarize benefits. Another one is asking for the sale. And then another one is building long-term relationships. I have said plenty about long-term relationships in the last 2-3 weeks. So we're just going to ignore that one so that we can keep the time. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Something that I wanted to mention earlier. I haven't made a music recommendation in a very long time, but I heard this one today and I was just mad. So I said I should let you guys know. I'm listening to the band now called the Brecker Brothers, Brecker, and on Spotify. And if for those of us who, Popsy and Momsy used to wear bell bottoms and they had afros and things like that, or maybe your Popsy was a care guide when he was at university, this is the group that you have to listen to because it is correct jazz, as in like jazz funk, like some kind of fusion, like really, really impressed. But it's horns music, so it's trombone, saxophone, all those sorts of things. So if you like Fela, you should also like this kind of music as well. But it's mostly instrumental stuff. So for those of you who are music heads, I beg, go and look for Brecker Brothers on Spotify. That's correct music. Nice one. Real nice music. All right. So the chapter on the close. So the author recommends, what the author recommends, urgency, summarize benefits, ask for the sale, building long-term relationships. We're going to fashi that last one. So let's go straight to definitions now. What does the close mean, self? Because when people say close, we're not always talking about the same thing. Because most people, especially in Nigeria, when people say close this deal, what they mean is collect the money. Collect your money. That's what people mean when they say close the deal. Now, that definition of close, it's all right. It's okay. It's not bad. But it's not the only definition of closing the deal. Ultimately, when we close the deal, we want to collect our money. So yes, you are correct. That if you're quoting 5M, close means collect that 5M. But a richer definition of close just means get the person to take the next step. The reason why this is a better definition of closing is because if you're dealing with a simple sales scenario, the example that I give is buying a goosey in the market. You can close one time. It's a matter of, look, bros, are you buying or not? I told you that 1 cup of a goosey is 4-5. Are you going to buy or not? If you're buying, how many cups? If you're not buying, please leave so that somebody else can come and open market. You see? For simple sales, you can close aggressively and you can do it one time. When it comes to the complex sale, however, trying to collect your money one time is not realistic because you're talking about something that is complex, something that is expensive, and that requires some relation building. So back to the wedding photography example. You want somebody... See, I'm not in the field again, so I don't know how much it costs. So let me just say 400K. That's because back when I was in the deal, that's how we used to price shisha. If you got a wedding for 350, 400, it was all right. If you got like 800, you were doing good. If you're one of those people that was able to close, like that kind of 1.2, 1.5, you're a superstar. But I don't know how much it costs right now. So during my time, let's say you're charging 400K. Back then, 400K was money, was serious money. You can't just say you're going to roll up on somebody. You're just meeting the person today, and then you just collect 400K like that. How? So the way to look at closing when you're talking about complex sales scenarios is it has to be one step, one step, one step. If you meet the person today, you have one agenda today, they take action today, you have closed. You leave another one for the next day. The example that I always give on the podcast is you meet the person at the bridal show. If you collect their phone number, you have closed. Then you call the person up. You're trying to arrange a meeting. If they agree for the meeting, you have closed. They now come for the meeting. You wanted them to look at samples. They look at samples. They decide on an album style that they like. You have closed. The next step is to send over a proposal. If you send over a proposal and you send over gold package, jubilee package, silver package, and if you get them to pick one package, you have closed. Next thing now is to get them to pay a deposit, Abby. So you now start following them up, sending email, making a phone call because you want them to pay deposit. The day that you pay deposit, you have closed. So you see how the thing works. Small, 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 small. Eventually, you'll get to collect all your 400K. But this whole thing of collect my money now, it doesn't work when it comes to complex sales scenarios. Unfortunately, most of you listen to this podcast, you are in a complex sales scenario. That's the reason why I say this whole thing of closing meaning collect my money. Let's calm down. Yes, ultimately you will collect your 5M complete. But right now, when we hear close, let's just think of taking the next step. So that's just the only thing I want to reorient your minds on. Listen to this podcast now. Closing is a step-by-step thing. Look, see, like I even said, the same as relationships, so in business. It's the same thing. You don't just walk up to a chick and say, babe, marry me. It's not like that. You approach her the first time and, okay, well, I was not much of a toaster when I was still in the field, so let me not show my lack of creativity. But basically, you don't just roll up on a chick or roll up on a guy and say, marry me. In fact, there was one babe that me and her was supposed to have done a collaboration, a long time ago, and she was giving testimony. She's a Christian, giving testimony about how she rolled up on one guy and she said, God told me that you're my husband. Guess what happened? The guy faded fast. I mean, how do you just roll up on somebody and say, God told you you're my husband? Of course, the guy disappeared now. Ended up marrying somebody else. So it's the same thing. You don't just roll up on somebody and say, God told you you're my husband. First, you roll up and say, I don't know. Okay, how do girls toast self? I never was toasted. Okay, well, only one girl toasted me anyway. But anyway, the manner she toasted is not fit for the podcast, so let me not go there. Anyway, however it is that you girls toast, you know how you're supposed to toast, shall? You don't just roll up on somebody and say, God told you you're my husband. You say that, the boy will fade. She'll say, this boy is crazy. And it's the same thing. Sorry. She said, the boy will say, this girl's crazy. And it's the same thing the other way around. If you roll up and say, babe, marry me, or babe, sleep with me, she will fade. So it's the same thing in business as in relationships. Before you close the deal, everything is small, small, small. One step after another, after another. Eventually, you'll collect the thing that you're looking for. So, so some of the things that the author recommended, urgency. Now, when it comes to urgency, how do you define urgency now? Urgency just means, how will I define urgency? Urgency just means any tactic or any skill, any thing that you're trying to do just to make the person to move sharp, to move quickly. Yeah, let's define urgency as sharp. So you're trying to get the person to move sharply. Now, on this podcast, I talk about this thing a lot, and so I want to bring it to you guys. Notice here. There's this thing about manufactured urgency, and there's this thing about inherent urgency. Manufactured urgency, that is what everybody talks about on the internet. So if you go and check urgency now on YouTube or on LinkedIn or on Instagram, people will be talking about use discount as an urgency, trick. So you tell the person that, look, blah, 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 because I like you, and for a limited time only, we're offering a 20% discount now if you buy today. So you see, you're trying to manufacture urgency by telling the person that if they move now, you will give them 20%. But if they wait till next week, then they'll have to pay full price. That is manufacturing urgency. Some people also use quantity to get a sense of urgency. That, okay, well, if you buy now, you buy it at this price. But instead of buying one, if you buy three, we'll give it to you for the price of whatever. Buy two, get one free. All those kind of things. That's also another way of getting urgency. In fact, that one used to work on me back when I was in the UK because I like yogurt. There was this yogurt that I like, Mueller yogurt, and I know that they used to do this discount. When the stock is old, so I always wait. When the stock is now old, they'll now say buy two get one free. That's when I'll buy. In fact, the day I come and they say it's £1 for three, that's when I'll go and shatter everything, and then I'll go home, and then I'll just quickly rush everything because, when the discount has reached that level, you know that the thing is going to expire in like 2 weeks or something, and my babe won't even eat. My wife now, anyway. Then it was my girlfriend. If I offer her, she would say no, that this thing is quarter to expire. That is not me and you. So yeah, some people do that, buy one, get one free. You're manufacturing urgency. You're trying to get the person to move sharp, sharp. Buy two, get one free. People will now rush it. So that's the whole idea. Then, let's see what else. Another tactic people use is this whole thing of time. Like this Black Friday that is raining in Nigeria now. What does Black Friday even mean, self? I have absolutely no idea. But anyway, they do it a lot, yeah. You just hear Black Friday. All of a sudden, everybody is just rushing, because the discount is only going to be available from this day to this day, and after that, the discount will appear. And then, if you're trying to buy anything in any shop in Abuja, it will be impossible to get through. If you want to buy something on Jumia is not even loading because all of Nigeria is trying to shop because it's Black Friday. So that's another urgency. So these tactics that I've mentioned here is when you're trying to get people to move sharp by saying if you buy now, you get one free. There's a discount, or the discount is limited between December 25th and December 27th. So all that is manufactured urgency, and all of that works. Yes, it works, and you should be doing that, I guess. To be honest, I'm not a fan of discounts, but anyway, I've spoken about that in older podcast episodes, and maybe I'll talk about that in the future. However, I think the best thing for us to do, especially for those of us who are selling services or we're not selling products, because you notice if you're a medical doctor, you can't say buy two, get one free. You can't do that. If somebody is there for a knee replacement, you can't say do two knee replacements for the price of one. If it's only one knee that is broken, it's only one knee that is broken. And then I am a business consultant. I can't tell you buy two, get one free. As in buy two what? Exactly. You call up a consultant like me, you're only going to solve the problem that needs to be solved. So there's no buy two, get one free. Okay, well, maybe if you have employees, train one employee, get one free. Okay, let me write that down. Maybe I might try that. So what I recommend is use the urgency that is inherent in the situation. Use the urgency that is already there. Go and listen to the episode that I made yesterday about elicitation, and you will see the urgency that I was talking about. Jackie Chan, not real Jackie Chan, as in the guy based in Lagos who's into interior decor, who yesterday were trying to solve his problem. Jackie Chan, when he was talking to the guy, he got a sense of urgency. This person said, I must enter into 2025 on a high note. Therefore, this project must be finished in December. In that case, there already is a sense of urgency that you can use to move the deal forward. And that is the reason why for Jackie Chan yesterday, I proposed that he close the deal the way that I said it in the podcast. That I tell okay, bros, for us to enter 2025 on a high note, this job must be completed December 23rd. For this job to consider finish December 23rd is a 2-week job. We must have started this thing by December 9th. For us to start this thing by December 9th, I must have paid for materials a week before. So therefore, I must have placed the order by December 2nd. For me to place that order, the reason why I have to place it by December 2nd is because some materials is going to be from Lagos, some materials is going to be from Onitsha. If I'm going to place this order by December 2nd, then the money has to be in my account latest by November 25th. And bros, right now we are talking, it is November 3rd. So how far? Can you mobilize the 400k deposit before so and so? You see in this case how you are using urgency to close. But you are not manufacturing the urgency. It is by having a conversation with the person and eliciting some information, you have discovered that there is already urgency built into the situation. And then you take advantage of that to close the sale. Okay, it must be done by so and so. For that to happen, we have to do 1, 2, 3. If we must do 1, 2, 3, then the next step is for us to do 4, 5, 6. Bros, are you ready? And then you keep quiet. And that's how you close. Or, madam, you want this dress to be ready for your sister's wedding. Your sister's wedding is November 15th. To make this kind of peplum dress, we actually need like 9 days to get the thing done. And for the embroidery that you want, it will take like 1 week. And for all of that to happen, mommy, I'll need to collect the money at least 48 hours before. So, ma, honestly, if you want this dress to be ready, we actually need to decide in like the next 3 or 4 days if we're going to do this thing. So, ma, I've already given you the bill. The dress is going to be 40k. Is this something you can do? And then you keep quiet. And then you leave it up to her. In this case, the urgency is already built in. So, my own philosophy, what I'm begging you guys is, all this whole thing of buy one, get one free, discount ending, this date, that date. Yeah, sure, do all those tactics. But to remain profitable over the long term, because the problem with discounting is this. Now, I am not good at mathematics, but it's something that has been studied mathematically, depending on your product or your service. Let's say your goal is to make 1M at the end of the year, and you start discounting 2 or 3%. You now have to sell more units or get more customers and able to meet that goal. So the problem with discounting is that discounting actually sets you back. And that's why I'm not a fan. But anyway, and that's podcast episode for another day, when to discount and how. So you're better off trying to look and trying to use the urgency that is already inherent. Maybe I'll talk about that some more in a future episode. But right now, just get the distinction that there's urgency that you manufacture. Buy one, get one free. 20% discount. And then there's the urgency that is already inherent in this thing. What are the critical deadlines? What are we working with? When is this thing supposed to roll out? And once you have all that information, you now use that to probe, to move the sale forward. Now you have discovered the urgency in the situation. Then, let's see. So asking for the sale. Now, this one is common sense, but lots of people don't do it. You're not going to get the sale unless you ask. Lots of you don't ask for the sale, and that's the problem. So please, let us learn to start asking for the sale. Don't just send the person a PDF and say, okay, sir, I sent you the proposal. Have a good night. I mean, what is that? You say, sir, I sent you the proposal. Good night, sir. You've not asked for the sale. Sir, I've sent you the proposal. When do you think you'll be ready to make a decision? Or, sir, I've sent you the proposal. Is everything else in order? Okay, sir, if everything else is in order, then the next step is you need to pay a deposit of 50% so that we can start the work. But ask for the sale. You guys, stop this thing of you tell the person the price and then you just keep quiet. If you tell the person the price and keep quiet, or send a proposal and keep quiet, the person will say, thank you very much. This looks really, really good. A wonderful proposal. Really beautiful. Let me talk to my wife. I'll get back to you. That's what you will hear. Or let me talk to my husband. I'll get back to you. Or, okay, I need to consult with my pastor. Let me get back to you. Oh, yes, wonderful proposal. I like it. Very, very good. Very good. You know what? On Monday, come and drop it with my secretary. I'll get back to you. That is why people are ghosting you. Ask for the sale. We'll talk about that some more in some future episodes because we're already at 30 minutes. So some of the ideas that you're going to get if you read a book on closing, or if you read that particular chapter, chapter 5. I think this is a 5 chapter book. I'll have to look at it, and then we'll know what's up. But anyway, by tomorrow, I'll let you guys know what it is that we're going to be talking about. But let's bring today's episode to a close. If you'd like to connect with me, the phone number is 080-6466-2140, and the country code is +234 for those of you who are not Nigerian. Connect with me on socials. The name to look for is Tavishima Ayede. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm also on YouTube, same name, and you get all the podcast episodes there as well. So thank you very much for your time and attention. Also, thank you very much again to I4 Timothy Moyua, AKTS, Mesoma, family member, because they're commenting every week now, Melky, Seifula, and Brown Naya. So, for the rest of you, I will catch you guys tomorrow. And remember, if I haven't shouted you out yet and we've been in touch, just send me a message and I will do that, because I want to acknowledge as many of you possible who make it worth my while and who appreciate the effort that goes into producing the podcast. So, you all have a good night, and I'll catch you at the next episode.